ETFs are one of the best ways to build wealth over time. That's why they are becoming more and more popular every year. But before to invest in an ETF, you need to understand what they are. In this video, I will explain what an ETF is, what the benefits of ETF, how do they work, and at the end of the video, I will show you an example of me buying an ETF to show you how simple it is to start investing. First of all, what is an ETF? ETF stands for Exchange Traded Funds. ETFs are a type of investment funds that hold a basket of stocks, bonds, or other assets. It's like a mutual fund, but unlike a mutual fund, ETFs are traded in stock exchange. That means you can buy and sell an ETF throughout the trading day just like you would with the stock. Now let's see the three main benefits of ETFs. One of the main benefits of ETFs is diversification. By investing in an ETF, you're not putting all your eggs in the same basket. Instead, you spread your risk across multiple investments, and that can help you mitigate your risk. This is especially important when markets are volatile, like right now in 2023. Let's take the example of S&P 500. For those who don't know what it is, S&P 500 is an index that tracks the performance of the 500 one of the 500 biggest companies in the United States. By holding an S&P 500 ETF, you will have exposure to all the sectors of the US economy and without having to do a lot of research to find the best stock on the market. The second benefit of ETF are their fees. Generally, ETFs tend to have low fees. Let's take the example of S&P 500. If you buy the iShares S&P 500 ETF, the total expense ratio will be 0.03% or 0.03%, sorry, I don't know how to say. And this means that by year, the annual management fees will be 0.03%. And if you are wondering why, this is because ETFs are passively managed. Specifically for index ETFs, which represent most of them, they aim to track the performance of an index, like S&P 500, as I said before, or Nasdaq Composite, for example. This requires less management and research, which translates into lower fees for investors. However, it is important to note that this applies to index ETFs and not sectors ETFs. If you buy, for example, a blockchain or an AI ETF, fees can go up to 0.95%. So please don't buy this kind of ETF. And I love blockchain, that's not a problem. But I will do a video to explain you what you shouldn't buy sectors ETF. ETFs are also transparent, which means that you can know what asset the ETFs holds and their weighting in funds. This makes it easy for investors to understand what they are investing in and to monitor their investments. You are able to know precisely in what you invest on a daily basis against many weeks for managed funds. This gives you more insight, which is essential for investment. So now we are going to see how ETFs works. Before doing this video, I watched the Ameritrade video on ETFs for beginners, which is, by the way, a really good video, but I noticed that many people in the comments have questions about some details, so I decided to answer to three questions in this part. Firstly, how does the price of an ETF fluctuate? ETFs are bought and sold just like individual stocks on trading platform or broker. This means that the price is based on supply and demand. When more people want to buy the ETF than sell it, the price goes up. When more people want to sell the ETF than buy it, the price goes down. Now you're probably wondering how an ETF can track the price of an index if its price is determined by supply and demand. Well, that's a really good question. It is thanks to an organization called authorized participants. I won't go into the details, but basically, authorized participants are empowered to create and redeem ETF units so that the ETF can track the underlying index well. If you want to know more, a link on authorized participants is in the description. The second comments came from someone who wondered about the taxation of ETFs. In most of cases, ETFs are taxed with the flat tax in the same way as stocks, like 10, 20 or 30% on profits. However, I'm not a financial advisor and it differs for the countries. So if you want to understand the tax implication in your particular cases, contact a financial advisor or a tax specialist. The last question is, can you sell individual stocks in an ETF, or can you only sell the entire ETF itself? So my answer is going to be very quick. You can't sell shares or stock within an ETF. You can only trade the whole ETF itself. Okay, bonus question, do ETF pays dividends? Yes, ETF can also pay dividends just as stocks. If you buy a distributing ETF, then you will receive dividends based on the dividends of the stocks in the ETF. If you choose to buy an accumulating ETF, then dividends will be auto-reinvested into the ETF, which is great for compounding. Now that you know what an ETF is, I will show you very quickly how to buy one. For the first step, you need to hit the like button. Of course, I'm joking, but if you appreciate the content, like this video so I know you support the channel. Let's go back to the video. The first step you need to do if you want to buy an ETF is create an account with the broker. So here I'm using Trade Republic as a European, but if you're American, for example, you can use other brokers like Robinhood. Go to the search bar and let's take the example of the S&P 500. Show all ETFs based on S&P 500. Here you can see different ETF. When it's right ACC, it means accumulative, so you won't have dividends with this ETF, they will be auto-reinvested. When it's right DIST, it's distributed. The ETF will distribute you dividends. I'm going to take the example of the iShares S&P 500 ETF. You can see that it's an accumulating ETF. The total expense ratio is 0.07%, which is classic for an index ETF. Here you can see the weighting of the sectors, the countries. It's 100% United States because it's the S&P 500, the composition and the weighting of the many stocks, and other information. So now you will click on buy, you enter the amount you want, you click on next and buy. No, I can't buy ETF because the exchange is currently closed. I'm recording in the weekend, but do it within the week and it will be good. Well, great, you bought your first ETF. You see that it's very simple. This is the end of the video. I tried to give you a quick summary of the main points to know about ETF as a beginner. If you have any question on ETFs or other topics, feel free to ask me in the comments. For the next videos, I was thinking about personal finance, but if you have any topic that you want me to talking about, I'm all ears. Thanks for watching and see you in the next videos.